So now let's start with diseases of eye and ocular adnexa. Let me list out all the chapters in this section. So we have the diseases of conjunctiva, diseases of cornea, diseases of sclera, diseases of uveal tract, diseases of lens, glaucoma, diseases of vitreous, diseases of retina, neuroophthalmology, ocular motility and strabismus, disorders of eyelids, diseases of lacrimal apparatus, diseases of orbit, and finally ocular injuries. So now let's start with the fifth chapter of the book and the first chapter of this section, which is diseases of conjunctiva. We'll probably finish this chapter in 2 or maybe even 3 parts. Applied anatomy. Conjunctiva is a translucent mucous membrane which lines the posterior surface of the eyelids and the anterior aspect of the eyeball. The name conjunctiva, conjoin means to join, has been given to the mucous membrane owing to the fact that it joins the eyeballs to the eyelids. It stretches from the lid margin to the limbus and encloses a complex space which is known as the conjunctival sac. It is open in the front at the palpebral fissure. Parts of conjunctiva. Conjunctiva can be divided into 3 parts. The 3 parts are: first one is palpebral conjunctiva, the second one is bulbar conjunctiva, and the third one is conjunctival fornix. Palpebral conjunctiva, it lines the lids and can be subdivided into marginal, tarsal, and orbital conjunctiva. Marginal conjunctiva extends from the lid margin to about 2 mm on the back of the lid, up to a shallow groove which is known as the sulcus subtarsalis. It is actually a transitional zone between skin and the conjunctiva proper. Tarsal conjunctiva is thin, transparent, and highly vascular. It is firmly adherent to the whole tarsal plate in the upper lid. In the lower lid, it is adherent only to half width of the tarsus. The tarsal glands are seen through it as yellow streaks. Orbital part of the palpebral conjunctiva lies loose between the tarsal plate and the fornix. Second, bulbar conjunctiva. It is a thin, transparent, and lies loosely over the underlying structures and thus can be moved easily. It is separated from the anterior sclera by episcleral tissue and Tenon's capsule. A 3 mm ridge of bulbar conjunctiva around the cornea is called the limbal conjunctiva. In the area of limbus, the conjunctiva, Tenon's capsule, and the episcleral tissue are fused into a dense tissue which is strongly adherent to the underlying corneoscleral junction. At the limbus, the epithelium of the conjunctiva becomes continuous with that of cornea. Third, conjunctival fornix. It is a continuous circular cul-de-sac which is broken only on the medial side by caruncle and plica semilunaris. Conjunctival fornix joins the bulbar conjunctiva with the palpebral conjunctiva. It can be subdivided into superior, inferior, medial, and lateral fornices. Structure of conjunctiva. Histologically, conjunctiva consists of 3 layers, namely epithelium, the adenoid layer, and the fibrous layer. Epithelium. This is a 2 to 5 layered non-keratinized epithelium. It also contains goblet cells which constitute about 10% of the epithelium. The layer of epithelial cells in conjunctiva varies from region to region and in its different parts as follows. Marginal conjunctiva has 5 layered stratified squamous type of epithelium. Tarsal conjunctiva has 2 layered epithelium, superficial layer of cylindrical cells and a deep layer of flat cells. Fornix and bulbar conjunctiva have 3 layered epithelium, a superficial layer of cylindrical cells, middle layer of polyhedral cells, and a deep layer of cuboidal cells. Limbal conjunctiva is again many layered, 5 to 6, stratified squamous epithelium. Limbal stem cells are present in basal layer of this part. The second layer is the adenoid layer. It is also called a lymphoid layer and consists of fine connective tissue reticulum in the meshes of which lie lymphocytes. This layer is most developed in the fornices. It is not present since birth but develops after 3 to 4 months of life. For this reason, conjunctival inflammation in an infant does not produce follicular reaction. Fibrous layer. It consists of a meshwork of collagenous and elastic fibers. It is thicker than the adenoid layer except in the region of tarsal conjunctiva where it is very thin. This layer contains vessels and nerves of conjunctiva. It blends with the underlying Tenon's capsule in the region of vulvar conjunctiva, glands of conjunctiva. So we have two types of glands. One, mucin secretory gland. Second one is the accessory lacrimal glands. Mucin secretory glands include goblet cells, crypts of Henle, and glands of Mans. Goblet cells are unicellular glands located within the epithelium. Crypts of Henle present in the tarsal conjunctiva, and glands of Mans found in the limbal conjunctiva. These glands secrete mucus, which is essential for wetting the cornea and conjunctiva. Accessory lacrimal glands, these are glands of Cross, present in the subconjunctival connective tissues of fornices, about 42 in the upper fornix and 8 in the lower fornix. And glands of Wolfring, present along the upper border of the superior tarsus and along the lower border of the inferior tarsus. Plica semilunaris, it is a pinkish crescentic fold of conjunctiva present in the medial canthus. Its lateral free border is concave. It is a vestigial structure in human beings and represents the nictitating membrane, or the third eyelid of lower animals. Caruncle. Caruncle is a small ovoid pinkish mass situated in the inner canthus, just medial to the plica semilunaris. In reality, it is a piece of modified skin and so is covered with stratified squamous epithelium and contains sweat glands, sebaceous glands, and hair follicles. Blood supply of conjunctiva. Arteries supplying the conjunctiva derive from three sources. One, peripheral arterial arcade of the eyelid. Second, marginal arcade of the eyelid. And third, anterior ciliary arteries. Palpebral conjunctiva and fornices are supplied by branches from the peripheral and marginal arterial arcades of the eyelids. Bulbar conjunctiva is supplied by two sets of vessels, posterior conjunctival arteries, which are branches from the arterial arcades of the eyelids, and anterior conjunctival arteries, which are branches of the anterior ciliary arteries. Terminal branches of the posterior conjunctival arteries anastomose with the anterior conjunctival arteries to form the pericorneal plexus. Veins from the conjunctiva drain into the venous plexus of eyelids and some around the cornea into the anterior ciliary veins. Lymphatics of the conjunctiva are arranged in two layers, a superficial and a deep. Lymphatics from the lateral side drain into the preauricular lymph nodes, and those from the medial side drain into the submandibular lymph nodes. Nerve supply of conjunctiva, a circumcorneal zone of conjunctiva, is supplied by the branches of long ciliary nerves which supply the cornea. Rest of the conjunctiva is supplied by the branches from the lacrimal, infratrochlear, supratrochlear, and supraorbital and frontal nerves. Inflammations of conjunctiva. Inflammation of conjunctiva is classically defined as conjunctival hyperemia, associated with a discharge which may be watery, mucoid, mucopurulent, or purulent. Types of conjunctivitis. Common types of conjunctivitis include infectious conjunctivitis, non-infectious conjunctivitis. In infectious conjunctivitis, we have bacterial conjunctivitis, viral conjunctivitis, ophthalmia neonatal, granulomatous conjunctivitis. Bacterial conjunctivitis, acute bacterial conjunctivitis, hyperacute bacterial conjunctivitis, chronic bacterial conjunctivitis, angular bacterial conjunctivitis, chlamydial conjunctivitis, trachoma, adult inclusion conjunctivitis, neonatal chlamydial conjunctivitis. In viral conjunctivitis, we have adenovirus conjunctivitis, which has epidemic keratoconjunctivitis, conjunctival fever. Enterovirus conjunctivitis, molluscum contagiosum conjunctivitis, herpes simplex conjunctivitis. Third is ophthalmia neonatal, and the fourth in infectious conjunctivitis is granulomatous conjunctivitis, paranoid oculoglandular syndrome. In non-infectious conjunctivitis, we have simple allergic conjunctivitis, which includes hay fever conjunctivitis, known as rhinoconjunctivitis, seasonal allergic conjunctivitis, perennial allergic conjunctivitis. Second, vernal keratoconjunctivitis, atopic keratoconjunctivitis, giant papillary conjunctivitis, flictannular conjunctivitis, contact dermoconjunctivitis, also known as drop conjunctivitis. Then we have the cicatricial immune-mediated conjunctivitis, which includes ocular mucous membrane pemphigoid, Stevens-Johnson syndrome, toxic epidermal necrolysis, and secondary cicatricial conjunctivitis. Third, mechanical or irritative toxic conjunctivitis, medication-induced keratoconjunctivitis, molluscum contagiosum-related toxic conjunctivitis, floppy eyelid syndrome, giant fornix syndrome, contact lens-related keratoconjunctivitis, superior limbic keratoconjunctivitis, and in neoplastic conjunctivitis we have sebaceous carcinoma, ocular surface squamous neoplasia, and melanoma. Infectious conjunctivitis. Infectious conjunctivitis, that is inflammation of conjunctiva caused by microorganisms, is the commonest variety. This is in spite of the fact that the conjunctiva has been provided with natural protective mechanisms in the form of low temperature due to exposure to air, physical protection by the lids, flushing action of tears, antibacterial activity of tear lysozymes, beta-lysine and lactoferrin, and humoral protection by tear immunoglobulins IgA. Bacterial conjunctivitis. There has occurred a relative decrease in the incidence of bacterial conjunctivitis in general and those caused by gonococcus and Corneobacterium diphtheriae in particular. However, in developing countries, it still continues to be the commonest type of conjunctivitis. It can occur as sporadic and epidemic cases. Outbreaks of bacterial conjunctivitis epidemics are quite frequent during the monsoon season. Etiology. Predisposing factors for bacterial conjunctivitis, especially epidemic forms, are flies, poor hygienic conditions, hot, dry climate, poor sanitation, and dirty habits. These factors help the infection to establish as the disease is highly contagious. Causative organisms. It may be caused by a wide range of organisms in the following approximate order of frequency. Staphylococcus aureus is the most common cause of bacterial conjunctivitis and blepharoconjunctivitis. Staphylococcus epidermidis is an innocuous flora of the lid and conjunctiva. It can also produce blepharoconjunctivitis. Streptococcus pneumoniae, that is pneumococcus, produces acute conjunctivitis usually associated with petechial subconjunctival hemorrhages. The disease has a self-limiting course of 9 to 10 days. Streptococcus pyogenes hemolyticus is virulent and usually produces pseudomembranous conjunctivitis. Haemophilus influenzae, it classically causes epidemics of mucopurulent conjunctivitis known as red eye, especially in semi-tropical countries. Moraxella lacunata is most common cause of angular conjunctivitis and angular blepharoconjunctivitis. Pseudomonas pyocinae is a virulent organism which readily invades the cornea. Neisseria gonorrhoeae typically produces acute purulent conjunctivitis in adults and ophthalmia neonatorum in newborn. It is capable of invading intact corneal epithelium. Neisseria meningitidis may produce mucopurulent conjunctivitis. Corynebacterium diphtheriae causes acute membranous conjunctivitis. Such infections are not known nowadays. Mode of infection. Conjunctiva may get infected from three sources: exogenous, local surrounding structures, and endogenous. Exogenous infections are the commonest and may spread directly through close contacts as airborne infections or as waterborne infections, vector transmission like flies, and material transfer such as infected fingers of doctors, nurses, common towels, handkerchiefs, and infected tonometers. Local spread may occur sometimes from neighboring structures such as infected lacrimal sac, lids, and nasopharynx. In addition to these, a change in the character of relatively innocuous organisms present in the conjunctival sac itself may cause infections. Endogenous infections may occur very rarely through blood, like gonococcal and meningococcal infections. Pathology. Pathological changes of bacterial conjunctivitis consist of vascular response, cellular response, conjunctival tissue response, and conjunctival discharge. Vascular response, it is characterized by congestion and increased permeability of conjunctival vessels associated with proliferation of capillaries. Cellular response, it is in the form of exudation of polymorphonuclear cells and other inflammatory cells into the substantia propria of the conjunctiva as well as in the conjunctival sac. Conjunctival tissue response. Conjunctiva becomes edematous. The superficial epithelial cells degenerate, become loose, and even desquamate. There occurs proliferation of basal layers of conjunctival epithelium and increase in the number of mucin-secreting goblet cells. Conjunctival discharge. It consists of tears, mucus, inflammatory cells, desquamated epithelial cells, fibrin, and bacteria. If the inflammation is very severe, diapedesis of red blood cells may occur and discharge may become blood-stained. Severity of pathological changes varies depending upon the severity of inflammation and the causative organism. The changes are thus more marked in purulent conjunctivitis than mucopurulent conjunctivitis. Clinical types of bacterial conjunctivitis. Depending upon the causative bacteria and the severity of infection, bacterial conjunctivitis may present in the following clinical forms: acute bacterial conjunctivitis, hyperacute bacterial conjunctivitis, chronic bacterial conjunctivitis, and angular bacterial conjunctivitis. Acute bacterial conjunctivitis is characterized by marked conjunctival hyperemia and mucopurulent discharge from the eye. So clinically, it is called acute mucopurulent conjunctivitis. It is the most common type of bacterial conjunctivitis. Common causative bacteria are Staphylococcus aureus, Cockweeks bacillus, Pneumococcus, and Streptococcus. Clinical features. Symptoms: discomfort, foreign body sensation, grittiness, blurring, and redness of sudden onset due to engorgement of vessels are the usual presenting symptoms. Mild photophobia, that is difficulty to tolerate light. Mucopurulent discharge from the eyes. Sticking together of lid margins with discharge during sleep. Slight blurring of vision due to mucus flakes in front of the cornea. Colored halos may be complained by some patients due to prismatic effect of the mucus present on the cornea. Signs: flakes of mucopus seen in the fornices, canthi, and lid margins is a critical sign. Conjunctival congestion, which is more marked in palpable conjunctiva, fornices, and peripheral part of bulbar conjunctiva, giving the appearance of fiery red eye. The congestion is typically less marked in circumcorneal zone. Chemosis, that is swelling of conjunctiva, papillae of fine type may be seen. Petechial hemorrhages are seen when the causative organism is pneumococcus. Cilia are usually matted together with yellow crusts. Eyelids may be slightly edematous. Clinical course: mucopurulent conjunctivitis is usually bilateral, although one eye may become affected 1 to 2 days before the other. The diseases usually reach its height in 3 to 4 days. If untreated, in mild cases, the infection may be overcome and the condition is cured in 10 to 15 days. Or it may pass to less intense forms, the chronic catarrhal conjunctivitis. Complications: occasionally the disease may be complicated by superficial punctate epitheliopathy, marginal corneal ulceration, superficial keratitis, blepharitis, or dacrocystitis. Differential diagnosis: differential diagnosis of acute bacterial conjunctivitis with other types of conjunctivitis. It is made out from the typical clinical features of disease and is confirmed by conjunctival cytology and bacteriological examination of secretions and scrapings. Acute red eye. Acute red eye is a common presenting symptom in many conditions such as acute conjunctivitis, acute keratitis, injury to conjunctiva and cornea, commonly by foreign bodies, acute iridocyclitis, acute glaucomas, subconjunctival hemorrhage, and acute endophthalmitis. So differential diagnosis need to be made for accurate diagnosis and instituting proper treatment in a case of acute red eye. Treatment: topical antibiotics to control the infection constitute the main treatment of acute bacterial conjunctivitis. Ideally, the antibiotics should be selected after culture and sensitivity tests, but in practice, it is difficult. However, in routine, most of the patients respond well to broad spectrum antibiotics. Therefore, treatment may be started with tobramycin 0.3% or ciprofloxacin 0.3%, ofloxacin 0.3%, gatifloxacin 0.3%, or moxifloxacin 0.5% eye drops. 3 to 4 hourly in day. An ointment used at night will not only provide antibiotic cover but also help to reduce the early morning stickiness. Irrigation of conjunctival sac With sterile lukewarm saline once or twice a day will help by removing the deleterious material. Frequent eye wash, as advocated earlier, is however contraindicated as it will wash away the lysozyme and other protective proteins in the tears. Dark goggles should be used to prevent photophobia. No bandage should be applied in patients with mucopurulent conjunctivitis. Exposure to air keeps the temperature of the conjunctival cul-de-sac low, which inhibits the bacterial growth. While after bandaging, the conjunctival sac is converted into an incubator, and thus infection flares to a severe degree within 24 hours. Further, bandaging of eye will also prevent the escape of discharge. No steroids should be applied, otherwise infection will flare up and bacterial corneal ulcer may develop. Anti-inflammatory and analgesic drugs like ibuprofen, paracetamol may be given orally for 2 to 3 days to provide symptomatic relief from mild pain, especially in sensitive patients. Preventive measures to reduce risk of transmission to close contacts include frequent hand washing and avoidance of sharing towel, handkerchief, and pillows with others. Hyperacute bacterial conjunctivitis. Hyperacute bacterial conjunctivitis, also known as acute purulent conjunctivitis or acute blennorrhea, is characterized by a violent inflammatory response. It occurs in two forms: adult purulent conjunctivitis and ophthalmia neonatum in newborn. Hyperacute conjunctivitis of adults, gonococcal conjunctivitis. Etiology: the disease affects adults, predominantly males. Gonococcal infection directly spreads from the genitals to the eye. Presently, the incidence of gonococcal conjunctivitis has markedly decreased. Clinical features: onset is hyperacute, that is within 12 to 24 hours. Symptoms include pain, which is moderate to severe, purulent discharge, which is usually copious, and swelling of eyelids, which is usually marked. Mild photophobia, that is difficulty to tolerate light, sticking together of lid margins with discharge during sleep, slight blurring of vision due to mucus flakes in front of the cornea. Signs are as follows: eyelids are tense and swollen. Tenderness is marked. Discharge is thick, purulent, copious, trickling down the cheeks. Conjunctiva shows marked chemosis, congestion, and papillae, giving bright red velvety appearance. Frequently, a pseudomembrane may be seen on the conjunctival surface. Pseudomembrane can be peeled off with a wet cotton bud or plain forceps. It is not possible to remove the true membrane easily, and separation may lead to bleeding. True membrane is a feature of diphtheric conjunctivitis, which is almost eradicated. Preauricular lymph nodes are usually enlarged and tender. Associations: gonococcal conjunctivitis is usually associated with urethritis and arthritis. Complications: corneal involvement is quite frequent as the gonococcus can invade the normal cornea through an intact epithelium. It may occur in the form of a diffuse haze and edema, central necrosis, corneal ulceration, or even perforation. Iridocyclitis may also occur but is not as common as corneal involvement. Systemic complications, though rare, include gonorrhea, arthritis, endocarditis, and septicemia. Treatment: systemic therapy is far more critical than topical therapy for infections caused by Neisseria gonorrhoeae. Any of the following regimens can be adopted. Third generation cephalosporins such as ceftriaxone 1 gram intramuscular as a single dose is sufficient for treatment of adult gonococcal conjunctivitis without septicemia. However, if there is corneal involvement, the treatment should be given for 5 days, or cefotaxime 1 gram IV 4 times daily for 5 days alternatively. Quinolones such as norfloxacin 1.2 grams orally QID for 5 days or spectinomycin 2 gram intramuscular for 3 days may be used alternatively. All of the above regimen should be followed by a 1-week course of either doxycycline 100 mg BID or erythromycin 250 to 500 mg orally QID. Topical antibiotic therapy presently recommended includes ofloxacin 0.3%, ciprofloxacin 0.3%, tobramycin 0.3%, eye drops or erythromycin eye ointment every 2 hours for the first 2 to 3 days and then 5 times daily for 7 days. Irrigation of the eyes frequently with sterile saline is very therapeutic in washing away infected debris. Other general measures are similar to acute mucopurulent conjunctivitis. Topical atropine 1% eye drop should be instilled once or twice a day if cornea is involved. Note: sexual partners should also be treated with systemic antibiotics. Further, both the patient and the sexual partner should be referred for evaluation of other sexually transmitted diseases. Chronic bacterial conjunctivitis. Chronic bacterial conjunctivitis, also known as chronic catarrhal conjunctivitis or simple chronic conjunctivitis, is characterized by mild catarrhal inflammation of the conjunctiva. Etiology: predisposing factors, chronic exposure to dust, smoke, and chemical irritants. Local cause of irritation such as trichiasis, concretions, foreign body, and seborrheic scales. Eye strain due to refractive errors, phorias or convergence insufficiency. Abuse of alcohol, insomnia, and metabolic disorders. Causative organism Staphylococcus aureus is the commonest cause of chronic bacterial conjunctivitis. Gram-negative rods like Proteus mirabilis, Klebsiella pneumoniae, Escherichia coli, and Moraxella lacunata are other rare causes. Source and mode of infection. Chronic conjunctivitis may occur as continuation of acute mucopurulent conjunctivitis when untreated or partially treated, as chronic infection from associated chronic dacryocystitis, chronic rhinitis, or chronic upper respiratory catarrh. As a mild exogenous infection which results from direct contact, airborne or material transfer of infection. Clinical features. Symptoms of simple chronic conjunctivitis include burning and grittiness in the eyes, especially in the evening, mild chronic redness in the eyes, feeling of heat and dryness on the lid margins, difficulty in keeping the eyes open, mild mucoid discharge, especially in the canthi. Watering off and on is often a complaint. Feeling of sleepiness and tiredness in the eyes. Signs. Grossly, the eyes look normal, but careful examination may reveal the following signs: congestion of posterior conjunctival vessels, mild papillary hypertrophy of palpebral conjunctiva, sticky look of the surface of conjunctiva, lid margins may be congested. Treatment. Eliminate the predisposing factors when associated. Topical antibiotics such as tobramycin 0.3% or moxifloxacin 0.5% should be instilled 3 to 4 times a day for about 2 weeks to eliminate the mild chronic infection. Astringent eye drops such as zinc boric acid drops provide symptomatic relief. Angular bacterial conjunctivitis. It is a type of chronic conjunctivitis characterized by mild grade inflammation confined to the conjunctiva and lid margins near the angles, hence the name. Associated with maceration of the surrounding skin. Etiology: predisposing factors are the same as for simple chronic conjunctivitis. Causative organisms. Moraxella axenfeld is the commonest causative organism. Moraxella bacilli are placed end to end, so the disease is also called diplobacillary conjunctivitis. Rarely, Staphylococci may also cause angular conjunctivitis. Source of infection is usually nasal cavity. Mode of infection: infection is transmitted from the nasal cavity to the eyes by contaminated fingers or handkerchief. Pathology: the causative organism, that is Moraxella axenfeld bacillus, produces a proteolytic enzyme which acts by macerating the epithelium. This proteolytic enzyme collects at the angles by action of tears and thus macerates the epithelium of the conjunctiva, lid margin, and the skin, the surrounding angles of eye. The maceration is followed by vascular and cellular responses in the form of mild grade chronic inflammation. Skin may show eczematous changes. Clinical features. Symptoms include irritation, burning sensation, and feeling of discomfort in the eyes. History of collection of dirty white foamy discharge at the angles. Redness in the angles of the eyes. Signs include hyperemia of bulbar conjunctiva near the canthi, hyperemia of lid margins near the angles, excoriation of skin around the angles. Foamy mucopurulent discharge at the angles is usually present. Complications include blepharitis and shallow marginal catarrhal corneal ulceration. Treatment. Prophylaxis includes treatment of associated nasal infection and good personal hygiene. Curative treatment consists of oxytetracycline 1% eye ointment 2 to 3 times a day for 9 to 14 days. This will eradicate the infection. Zinc lotion instilled in daytime and zinc oxide ointment at bedtime inhibits the proteolytic ferment and thus helps in reducing the maceration. So we are done with the first part of this chapter. We'll continue with chlamydial conjunctivitis in part 2 of this video. Thank you so much for listening.